here to introduce Allison Reed, whose son is here at the Institute for Attachment and Child Development. Allison, I think your story will be interesting to people, particularly because of what you have overcome in regard to getting your son here and getting the funding for it. But let's go back a bit in your journey to why you sought help for him in the first place. How old was he when you adopted him?
A year and a half is when he came into our home, and we adopted him around 2 years, when he was 2 years old.
And what was he like at that age?
He was hard. We didn't know that he had RAD. He threw lots of fits. He would bite the other kids till they bled, but we just thought he's just hard. He would play by himself a lot. Never scared of anything. I had to put deadbolts on my door because he would walk out the front door and just not really care where he was going, not care that he was alone, no idea that there was danger out there, but I just thought he was just harder, more adventurous. I had done childcare before, and I had never had a child that didn't like me. And it was kind of weird, normally a kid cries and you pick them up and you hug them and you console them. But he never wanted that. And I thought it was a little weird, but I didn't know what RAD was, and I didn't know. I just thought he's a tough little kid. He doesn't want to be baby. When he was about 5 years old, we went to a birthday party, and there was an adult there, a handicapped adult, and she was maybe 26. So she was a full-size grown adult, and she had about the ability of maybe an 8-month-old. So she sat on a blanket, played with light-up toys. She was nonverbal. She couldn't move off the blanket. She could sit, but she couldn't crawl. She couldn't, move herself. And she was just playing there. And he came up and started hitting her, trying to push her over. Before this, we had seen some animal abuse. When he made other people hurt, it was funny for him. He would laugh about it. Generally when my kids fight, it's because they're angry. One of the boys is mad at his sister, so he's got his angry face and he hits her. They're crying. But with him, sometimes it would be unprovoked. And he would hide objects in his pocket, like tacks. And he would poke his little sister and make her cry. And he would smile when he did it and get joy from it. So that's when we really knew something was wrong. And so that was definitely, when we went to a therapist. But even then they didn't say RAD. They said I wasn't consistent enough, with my parenting. He gave me sticker charts and said, here, if you're more consistent, every day that he doesn't, try to cut your dog with a scissors, give him a sticker. And after so many stickers, you can give him a toy, which worked temporarily. But then anytime he did anything, hey, I brushed my teeth, where's my toy? I put on my shoes, where's my toy? And if I didn't give him a toy, he would hold that against me. Well, I'm not doing anything now. So initially, his behavior got better for like a month, and then it just became very entitled and demanding. And so I found somebody. I met with him 2 times, and he changed my life. Because after that, we moved. But this person I met with was Aurora Mental Health. I don't even remember his name. But I described everything that was going on, and he said, your son has RAD. And I didn't even know what it was, but when I looked it up, it helped me. I never wanted to label him. But my son was always telling me things like, oh, this person's so nice. I wish she were my mom. And that hurt. But when I found out he had RAD, it didn't hurt me anymore in the way it did, because I understood he's not loving me the way the other kids are because he can't. And then it just made me sad for him, because I thought of the joy my kids bring me and how great our relationship is. I realized he doesn't have that with anyone. But that's when I started my journey of looking up, like, well, what can I do now that I know what it is? So we found another therapist who we interviewed a couple. She said she had a family member with Rad. So that's one of the reasons we chose her. And she explained to me what Rad was, and she seemed to be educated in Rad. And I think she was great. But she knew Rad, but I didn't think she really understood it. Because there came a point when my son's behaviors got unsafe, and Child Protective Services did eventually get involved, and the police, and he was taken out of our home. And I told her one day, I said, I don't know if he's coming back. And she looked at me surprised. And when she looked at me surprised that day, I thought, she doesn't understand what's happening. Like, she doesn't understand how bad he's hurting us.
Right.
And then he talked about killing his 2-year-old sister. And finally the therapist heard him say these words, because in therapy he was an ideal child. So she didn't, she had never seen all that. But when she actually heard him say, I do want to kill her, and if I come back, I want to continue to hurt her, again, she was surprised. So it wasn't until we came to the Institute that I actually was surrounded by people who had never seen my son's behaviors. But when I explained the behaviors to them, they said, oh, okay. Like, that's it? Like, I don't have to, defend this? I don't have to explain it? No, we get it. We understand. We've seen this before. And it was a relief.
Let's talk about how you found the Institute.
Okay. I had a friend that saw a video online of one of the people at the Institute, one of the parents. And she said, I found this video of a parent who was struggling to find support for her family and her child. And she knew that we were struggling. She said, you have to see this video. So I watched the video with her. And then she said, you need to know this person. So she called the Institute.
That was Amy Van Tyne.
Yes, it was Amy Van Tyne. So she called the Institute and left her contact information and said, please have Amy call me. And Amy did. She contacted my friend, and
Amy's child is in the program, and she's just so we can explain to everybody who she is. And she started a nonprofit to advocate for other moms just like you and for herself. So
yes, yeah. So as soon as Amy, my information got passed along, Amy contacted me, and at the time my son was in treatment in Texas. I talked to Amy about my son's care. When he was in residential treatment in Texas, he was starting to get worse. He made his first attempt at suicide when he was there. And that's hard, because as bad as my kid can be, he's still my son. So she told me, well, I know of a place where I took my daughter, and they understood Rad, and Rad is all they do.